But first, tonight we go up close with a Central New York developer with projects scattered across the area from Watertown to Syracuse and DeWitt. Matt takes a closer look tonight. Matt?
Well, this company started nearly 20 years ago, developing a supermarket and some muffler chain stores. They really started to take off when they began spreading the town center concept. I went up close with developer Steve Aiello for this rare interview about the fundamentals behind this fast-growing company and an exclusive look at several of its high-profile projects. In the urban setting, the old must be torn down before the new can go up.
So what else? What are we looking at here? What are these guys? What phase are we in now?
So we're in the final phase of demolition. There was a significant millions of dollars of environmental cleanup on the site.
The site of the old Mercy Hospital in downtown Watertown is being redeveloped by a company best known for creating suburban town centers.
How successful has the Fayetteville project been?
Fayetteville has been a huge success. I mean, early on when we looked at the site, you know, a lot of folks told us that, you know, you could not rehabilitate it.
Rehabilitation is just one element of their widening reach. They've added high tech and Hollywood.
Along the perimeter on the exterior of this room is all post-production and editing rooms and things that would be used. And
then here there's insulation on the walls for
special insulation for soundproofing. And, you know, the height obviously is for optimal filming.
The Optimal project for 5 partners who formed one company improves the region where they all grew up. They have upstate New York at heart, which inspired their company name. Latin for heart is COR. This is COR development.
I and my family and my partners' families, we were all born and raised here. And we believe in this community. It's a great community. It's a great place to raise your family. And, you know, and we've been successful here. And, you know, we think the quality of life is outstanding.
While the nation and the region struggled through recession, Steve Aiello and COR kept building. From 1998 through today, real estate they developed is valued at more than $400 million. It stretches from Batavia to Colony, Fayetteville to Watertown.
How have you bucked that trend? Like,
well,
what has helped you do that?
Well, you know, we're kind of a tight-knit group. I mean, and, you know, we have a big presence, but we have a small group. We work very efficiently, but we also look at projects for sustainability. And you know, we've had great success with the quality of projects that we build. I mean, primarily, we own all of our projects and we manage them. So when you walk into one of our projects, you know, we make sure that we pick up the papers and it looks as though you're walking into your house. It's important to us. And I think that's had a lot to do with our success.
Success that has developed over 5.5 million square feet of space out of a company that started with 2 offices and 2 cell phones developing sites for a muffler chain. Now it's rebuilding urban cores, turning an aging vacant hospital site in Watertown into a 4-story mixed-use complex with office, retail, and 186 residential units. It'll be called Mercy Heights.
You start out building shopping space. Yeah. Why have you changed that perspective over time?
Well, you know, for many years we built regional suburban shopping centers, and, you know, we loved what we did. But about 5-6 years ago, we decided to, you know, collectively take all of our resources from office development, retail development, and residential development, and kind of repurpose and basically start to do these urban redevelopment projects.
Some of these projects get off the ground thanks to government incentive programs. In this case, COR gets a total of $4 million in state economic development money, one piece of a $65 million project.
Our objective is to basically put a business model together to identify a good site for development, to go forward on the basis that we're going to build it with conventional financing. And if there's a case of where we need some economic incentive, you know, then we will go to the community or to the state or whomever and say, here's our model, this is what we're going to build, this is the economic forecast of it, and is there some help that you could offer?
For the new Beaver Meadows housing complex built behind its Watertown Town Center, COR receives some tax breaks and government-backed loans. 300 apartments will be finished this year. Many of these tenants are connected to Fort Drum.
How do you make money? Like what part of the business makes money? You know, you control a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean,
where along the way does money come into COR that's?
I mean, ultimately we make, old-fashioned, we make money by renting real estate. We don't make it out of the property management company that we run to take care of the facility. You know, we typically don't look at, you know, government incentives unless there's a need to move the project forward, so it's on an as-needed basis. It's kind of the old-fashioned model, you know, we build a center, we build apartments, and we borrow the money to build it, and over time, we keep them rented and we maintain them, and, you know, we pay down debt.
An approach that has kept COR out of the spotlight while doing its part to transform upstate New York.
I think it's important to pay attention to the detail, and in the end, we always bring our projects in on time at budget.
It's remarkable what they're accomplishing. There's a lot more to share about my up-close conversation with Steve Aiello. Coming up on NBC3 News at 6, we're going to give you a first look inside that new film studio. Gave you just a little glimpse there, built on the nanotechnology site. That looks pretty neat, doesn't it?
It looks remarkable.
Yeah, and also we're going to go to Syracuse's Inner Harbor. If you've been by there recently, you see a hotel is on its way up out of the ground. We'll talk with Aiello about the tens of thousands of dollars in political campaign money that goes in contributions by him and his partners. That piece we'll talk about tonight on NBC3 News at 11.
What I really like is to see local people reinvesting in the community that they grew up in. I mean, clearly these guys have an investment in moving their community forward.
Yeah, they certainly are committed, and they've done very well, as he said, right in their own backyard.
A bit first new at 5:30 tonight. It's a public works project that's been on the fast track over the last year. 12 months ago, the idea of an Onondaga Lake amphitheater was just starting to gel. Now, thanks to the blessing of the governor and the ambitious leadership of Joni Mahoney, the new arts venue is on schedule to open in just a few months. Matt goes up close with her tonight. Matt?
Well, Megan, just a few days ago, I walked the amphitheater site with the county executive. It's a location with a grand view of Onondaga Lake. And as you'll see in our exclusive up-close interview, you no longer need imagination to envision enjoying a concert on a central New York night.
The artists will come down around the back and bring their trailers right in. There'll be, I think, 4 loading docks.
The Lakeside Amphitheater is taking shape.
4 pieces of steel are up.
Well, we put a corner up, which is 3 columns, but you need to cross brace them, so there's 5.
Oh, thank you very much.
Construction team members pulling together to meet a tight deadline. What's the vista here? What are we looking at? The first concert on the shore of Onondaga Lake by Labor Day. Once it's all built in there, say this is a concert night. Is this sort of where we come in?
Yes,
roughly?
yes. We passed the site where the box office will be, and that's a little bit of a walk, and I think people are going to be really surprised when they come through that new box office and make their way down here to this view of the lake that I myself had not seen until within this last year when we came out here. We brought the governor out here when we pitched this whole idea, and when folks are sitting on the lawn, which is being created right now, this slope, when folks are sitting on the lawn and they're at a concert, they're going to see the lake behind them. It's just going to be spectacular.
When complete, this public park will have 5,000 seats under cover, another 12,000 on the lawn. So if I have lawn seats, I'm pretty close to my seat already.
You are. You will see the topsoil headed.
I got topsoil seats
right
now. The business plan is to have 15 shows per summer. Fans of top artists that typically hit Saratoga or Canandaigua would come to Syracuse instead and make a weekend of it, including hotels, restaurants, shopping, and the concert. When people see that this is getting done, not knowing what's happening behind this hill, by the way, they say, why are you wasting our money on the amphitheater? We don't need to have concerts here. We have holes in our streets. We have water mains breaking. What's the answer to that question?
And I am trying so hard to help people understand. I know people are busy in their daily life, but there's an impression that we pay for county government with property tax. That is no longer the case. We have really reduced your property taxes at the county level because we're using more sales tax. So we have to invest in economic engines that are going to bring people to the community. That's why you pick something like the amphitheater. And then in round numbers, the amphitheater is about a $50 million project. It will pour about $20 million annually into this local economy once it's being used to its full capacity once we have a full season here, that is a very good investment for us. So if you want your potholes fixed, you should support projects like this that are going to bring people to town with sales tax dollars to do that.
This lakefront property has gone unused for a century because of the industrial waste that filled this hill. Is it safe? As this gets turned up, and we see like little samples of this white chalky stuff.
Yep.
And some of that's probably the stuff that's been left behind, right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying you're a hydrologist or geologist, but
yes.
How do you alleviate the public's concern about that? I mean, I've read the reports. It shows that there'll be ground covering. The greatest concern is for maybe the guys who are working this heavy equipment right now. But once it's open, what do you say to the public about, you know, the soil and the material this is being built on?
I would say, generally speaking, that we're making lemonade out of lemons. I would not, and I don't think anybody else would in 2015, decide to dump the way we did, but it is not the toxic substance that I think people think it is. It's the residual from the soda ash process, and it is inert. And the thing that should make folks comfortable is there is not a piece of land that has been more studied from the environmental groups, the EPA, the DEC. This is a Superfund site, and we know what's here. There are monitors all over this site monitoring the air quality. The workers have the monitors right on them to make sure that their own personal environment is safe. And we have a ground cover plan that is going to make it so that you can, you know, be on the lawn and it will all be safe. And to take what was an eyesore and turn it into this facility, I think, as I said, is, you know, the best thing I can tell you is we're making lemonade out of lemons. You and I didn't put it here.
Right.
We're making the best of it.
Right. Making the best of a lake, making a return to prominence, unseen in generations. So you're going to have like a Joni Mahoney bench?
Yeah, probably.
Or actually,
Brought to you.
everybody has to get something named after them.
You haven't seen any Bernie Mahoney buildings, right? You won't see any Joni Mahoney buildings.
No Joni Mahoney buildings, but she's very excited. You can gather that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
This ambitious schedule for the amphitheater was made possible because the state approved this as a design-build project, the only one like it except for the Tappan Zee Bridge in all of New York State. Now, design-build means those are processes both go on at the same time, allows more flexibility to get the shovels in the ground while working out much of the details of the plan. We have a little more to tell you about tonight at 6. We'll tell you what type of concert you might expect for that first show at the end of the summer and what type of concert it won't be.
It's really quite exciting. I mean, I grew up in a town with an amphitheater, and the lawn seats were always the best.
Yes.
It brings a sort of energy to a community that we currently don't have.
Yeah, and one that has been absent from here, and I think people will be surprised at how nice it's going to turn out in a few months.
All right, we'll see you again more at 6 tonight. He is called one of the most feared college basketball recruiters in the country. Syracuse assistant coach Mike Hopkins has made his mark as one of the best in the game.
And he is in line to take Jim Boeheim's post as head coach one day. In the meantime, he's doing what he loves, coaching. I went up close with Mike Hopkins to find out what makes him a success.
That's what we're doing down there. It's the same thing. That's why we were doing it in practice today.
He motivates.
Now he goes inside, ball, now he dives, right there, bounce.
He teaches.
Good. Stay down here, puck, show the eyes.
He relates.
Hey, go give one of those bang bang shrimp off the rims like you did down there. Like that's like that's what you do.
Coach Mike Hopkins has a 20-year history of success at Syracuse, shaping lives of recruits, players, and professionals.
Nothing's like putting them in a situation to learn and get better and being a mentor. That's why I love it. That's why I love coaching. It juices me.
That's a throw. Good. That's perfect, DC.
The team captain on Jim Boeheim's Big East championship squad in the early 1990s, Hopkins now has an elite reputation for developing players and recruiting the next generation. What qualities that you bring that are clearly are genuine, but when you're...
I think a big thing for recruit, like, you know, number one, I think the misconception about recruiting is we get a lot of credit, obviously, for recruiting, but one of the guys, I mean, Coach Boeheim's a closer. He's as good as it gets.
They're overplaying that. You get a big gap.
What do parents want to know from you? What kind of reassurance
one of the
do
things
they
I
want?
like, listen, at the end of the day, I'll treat your son like he's my son. At the end of the day, everybody can be there when it's good. Who's going to be there when it's tough? like the Villanova game, buy made a dime.
That's what I'm saying. Did you see it?
Yeah.
The mic.
But also,
The all-Syracuse coaching staff is a source of great pride for Mike Hopkins. Adrian Autry was his backcourt mate. He recruited Jerry McNamara. Few programs can make that claim of loyalty and legacy.
I like to say family first, family forever. I mean, we're one of 2 schools that their whole entire staff went to Syracuse and played here, and I think that's a huge advantage. And like I said, it's sincere, it's authentic, it's real, it's not phony, and I think that at the end of the day wins.
Coach Hopkins can't go more than a few minutes without extolling the virtues of Jim Boeheim. After all, the Hall of Famer gave him his big break when he hired the former player who had never coached before.
So I thought it was down and out in Beverly Hills, man. I thought it was over. Like, my dad can't hire me. I've been fired more times in the last year and a half. I can't play. I have no ambition to play basketball again, and I'm watching the O.J. Simpson trial, depressed, eating Fritos on the couch, trying to get up. And at the end of the day, I started giving the individual lessons, and it was like this timing, oh, I'm coaching. And that's why I think it's my calling. I believe that, you know, someone was looking down on me.
What do you think his future is? Does he secretly tell,
you know, like,
does he secretly tell you in the...
No. At the end of the day, like Syracuse people in general, the college basketball world, the ACC, everybody should want him to coach until he's 90. Because, like, there's not coaches like him anymore.
Good. Get up there. Take away his airspace. Good. That's it.
And not many like the one patiently awaiting his turn to ascend. He lives each day with the philosophy, work hard and good things will happen.
Shab, Doyen. Good athleticism, Doy. Hey, good job. Good finish.
That's him during practice the whole time.
It's not often we get to hear from him.
Yeah, little looks, a little bit of encouragement to players, even when Coach Boeheim's running things. Now, Mike Hopkins has entertained other universities who have asked him to consider leading their programs. Tonight on the CW6 News at 10, he talks about the one job he thought he had in the bag. He'll tell us about the year the Syracuse program also survived the big scandal that involved the man who recruited Hopkins to Syracuse, Bernie Fine.
Well, I did like the whole Fritos comment there.
Watching OJ eating Fritos, he thought he would never have a career in
But it
basketball.
was meant to be, clearly.
Coach Boeheim made all the difference.